From, I can't pronounce it. Two puppies.
And Recito.
Okay. 2 puppies, 1 new one. 1 I already had. How do I get them to get along? Ooh. Boundaries. All right, that's a loaded question.
You don't.
You don't force them to get along. They will eventually get along, hopefully, if given the proper boundaries. So for a new dog coming into a household with an older dog, most older dogs don't like puppies right away unless you create a very strong structure base for that older dog and the younger dog.
Or, don't forget what you're about to say. The older dog, if it's an older puppy, an adolescent puppy, it's probably, even with good training, going to be very disrespectful and pushy to your new puppy. So it doesn't matter the age or anything. It's like boundaries first. Even if they were 2 12-week-old puppies, you got to have boundaries between the 2 of them. Okay, go ahead.
Oh no, I forgot it now. You gotta finish
it off. You did not forget it.
Basically, you just want the older puppy to understand that he still has run the house like he had before. Younger puppies coming in, set really good structure, use a playpen, use a tether, have a leash on them, do really good training, and make sure that your older dog knows that you're going to advocate for them. One of the biggest things I see is that younger puppy comes in, crazy energy, rules the roost, basically jumps all over the older dog. Older dog feels the need to correct said puppy with like nipping or like pushing and growling. That's not what you want. You're not training your older dog to be the parent of that younger puppy. You are the parent, you are the leader. Show your leadership by advocating for your older dog and kind of putting your puppy in the role that you want the puppy to be in.
And what can happen is, even if that's not the situation, if your older dog is totally fine and what's happening is they're playing to death and running among the house and not listening to you at all. So that's the other side that can happen. Your dogs need to see you control the situation. If not, you won't matter at all. There won't be any respect. And as your puppy gets older, you can very likely have some adolescent fights, whether you've currently got an adolescent dog or when your puppy gets to be an adolescent, because that's what we need. So anyway, we've told you what you need to do, but we haven't given you anything tangible to really hold on to and do. That's because you now have a pack of dogs. It is not the easiest thing in the world. You need to understand body language. You need to matter to your dog. You need to practice body blocking. If you move into a dog, it means settle down and stay there. If you move away from a dog, it means follow me. You need to learn that give and take and practice it with your dogs. The best way to do it is, in my opinion, is through place. So go on Google, find some videos on how to teach place. Tell your dog place and do that over and over and over again. You can use food and then start to move away. And when your dog gets off, no, move in. And then when you want to call your dog to you, soft body language back. So you start to practice this give and take. You want your dogs to be sensitive to spatial pressure. That's the big thing. That might even be a good thing to Google. I don't know, maybe I should Google that first and see what comes up. But how to get your dogs to be sensitive to spatial pressure is practicing it. Stopping at thresholds, waiting at the crate door before you invite them out, giving your dogs individual attention while you're training them, which is crucial. I understand that as they get a little older, that's going to happen less and less, but your first few months of training your dogs to do things, separate walks, 5 to 10 minutes a day of individual attention, working with them in the home, as well as separate walks. Those things are really, really important. And let's see, what else? Waiting for food bowl.
Individually, we're feeding them at the same time?
No, I wouldn't feed them at the same time right now until they can wait, give food bowl, and then they can wait for permission to get up and get the food bowl. I would just do crate or do it individually and practice with them. No jumping up on you, no running to the front door when someone comes over. Those are basic. Those aren't even a big deal. Those are basic rules and boundaries that you need, and your dogs need to see you practice with the other dog in order for that to happen. And so anyway, just keep that in mind. I know it sounds like you've got a lot of research to do, and that's because you do, because you got a pack of dogs now. And so your understanding of dog behavior, dog psychology, all of that needs to go up a level. So, okay, cool. Let's move on.
All right. Los Cuatros Allens.
Whoa.
Welcome back.
That was impressive.
I've had like 13 friggin' things to go over this name. All right, we got it. We got Allens. We're there. All right. How to get a 7-month-old Bernedoodle to tell us when she needs to go out. She can touch the bell, but then eats it. Oh, I love that. That is awesome. So normally I would tell my younger puppies, I'm just going to mention it, younger puppies, I would not be using a bell, because using a bell trains your puppy to train you when they have to go out. An older dog, I'm assuming you've already taught them to go outside, and now you're introducing a bell. See, I made the assumption. And now you're introducing a bell as a marker of when they do need to go outside. Because younger puppies, we're not teaching them to ring the bell and tell you when to go. They need to be on a tight structure schedule. An older dog who can already hold it for multiple hours, now they're ringing the bell because it's like kind of them just associating it to a thing to let you know they have to go out.
Can I argue with you?
Oh man, yes.
Even though I'm on the same page as Sparky as far as how I would train.
If we didn't argue, you wouldn't be on the show.
However, I know that most people train the bell at a really, really young puppy age. And the problem with that is the reason that starts to stop working or you get problems out of it like you're experiencing is because you're expecting them to figure it out too early. So when you train a potty bell, guys, you are still on a structure schedule. That puppy still has no freedom in the house. That puppy is not making decisions to go and ring the bell for a month to 2 months. All you're doing is creating a pattern.
Bing.
That's it. You like bing and go outside, bing and go outside. That's all you're doing. And then when the puppy has a better understanding of how to hold it, what their job is in the yard, and then coming back inside, you have to create urgency. When you give your puppies too much freedom to start making those decisions, that's when you start to have fallout. And maybe something magical even happens. And at 4 months old or 5 months old, your puppy is free. Maybe they just ate, breakfast, and then they go and ring the bell and go outside. And then people think that that's how they can be the rest of the day. No, that just means that what you're doing is working, but you still have to go back to crate. You still have to have your structure schedule because these things are happening. And so anyway, when it comes to touch the bell and then eats it.
It's a correct assumption, LOL, and we just started it.
Oh, they just started.
So you still have a while of teaching them about how to use it.
You have tons of patterning and consistency, weeks of it before you're gonna get that. Because think about how training a trick. When you train a trick, it's like tap bell, good food, tap bell, good food, tap. Like you need to be doing that a million times, and then touch. Like say you taught them touch. I don't know. Is that what it is? Touch for the bell. Then you can say touch and then go outside and potty. Like you have to create this instinct and this routine. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect.
It was kind of nice. We kind of agreed with each other. You just broke it down more. That was yeah. It's good. It's good.
What about then eats it? Does he eat the bell or eat the poo?
I think eating the bell, but I think the bell is just a game at this point. So
it needs to be a
what
trick.
She was saying,
you
make
need
it
to teach
a
it
thing.
as a trick.
Would you treat too?
Teach him to you can you treat. You can teach him to touch, and then touch the bell. But you need to be doing that 10 to 15 times, a couple times a day for a week, and then try to venture off into your next stage.
And there's no going outside. So dog rings the bell, you take him outside. There's no sniffing for 20 minutes. It's you're literally out there for 2 to 3 minutes. That's the task she was mentioning. They're out there for a reason.
Urgency, yeah.
Come back in. And honestly, if I get a dog that sniffs for more than 3 minutes, I'm going to put him back in the crate. And then 15, 20 minutes later, take him back to that bell, hit the bell, or they hit the bell, and then you take him back outside for it.
Yeah.
And then you get a potty, good.
Hopefully that's good advice. We are not bell masters, by the way. We don't like the bell.
We're not bell enthusiasts.
So hopefully, at least I just know a trainer that loves the bell and teaches it to everybody who wants to learn it and has great success. So any little tidbits you just heard was from him. I am not the bell master.
Yeah, I have another one that basically uses her older dog to teach all of her younger puppies. She does breeding professionally, and all of her younger puppies learn from that older dog.
That's cool.
But then after like 6 months, then they come to me, yay, because then they kind of revert a little bit. As they hit a certain age, then they start ringing that bell to go outside and play, and now you have them coming inside and pooping on your carpet. So you're not done with training, even if you have them learn at a really young age. 6 months later, they're going to need another recap when they start ringing that bell to go outside and play. And I think I just touched on probably what a few other people are having issues on.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I get a lot of questions for that one.
That's a big one.
You want to read one of yours? I got a long one.
Do this one. Oh, is that all part of one?
It's all one. You got to read it. I'm not good with the long ones.
All right. Here we go. Wilson, my 10-month-old golden has a high-pitched bark. Ugh, those are the worst. when she wants attention or wants to play with our 9-year-old Golden. And occasionally to get out of crate in the morning. When we have company over, we've got her on leash in a separate room. And I do tell her no barking, redirect with place her down. It works for a moment, but she wants to be right in the middle. Any ideas on how to stop barking? Well, first of all, let me say this. Unless you have a really sensitive dog, and I can tell Daisy's sensitive, so I'm not gonna raise my voice, but if you have a really sensitive dog, yes, some of you out there just going, no, in a firm, in kind of intense way. Don't try not to get emotional, but a very authoritative way. Sometimes that's enough, and it can't, like for little Daisy, it could definitely help with any behavioral issues. But for a lot of dogs, especially the dogs we work with, because that's why we're hired, just saying no barking, it doesn't mean anything. There's no value. You know, you say good and you give food, or good and you pet. And so it means something. Your no doesn't mean anything.
Your no has to have value.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
So if you say no and then give a correction or give a redirect, you're adding value to that no.
Yeah. So 9-month-old, 10-month-old, that's an adolescent dog.
That's an older dog.
You need value. You got a dog under, 5 months old. We just use a little spatial pressure usually. We're like, hey, no, knock it off kind of thing. And that's often enough. But you've got an adolescent Golden.
I'd be using some serious spatial pressure.
Yeah, and leash
I'm in
work.
front,
Leash
pull back while stepping in front of him, maybe even nudging him with my hip or my leg, backing him off while saying that no. You're empowering your no, and then redirecting to your place, doing your down, doing your sit, and you got to do this multiple times.
Yeah.
All a no does is it's a correction. A no is a correction. You got to give value to a correction.
It's supposed to have value.
Once you have value, but a no can be a Band-Aid. If you don't work your dog after a no, then it becomes a really, really thick Band-Aid with weak adhesive. Eventually that Band-Aid falls off and the cut gets a little bit bigger. If you never work your dog through it, all you're doing is stifling drive, and then drive builds. It gets bigger and your Band-Aid gets bigger. It gets to the point to where...
It's like stress loading almost.
Yeah. If you don't work your dog, I know I keep saying work. What is work? Work means firm no, back up, place, sit, down, heel.
Let's
place.
Go, turn,
let's
place,
go, whatever.
Like move them through their emotion.
You gotta use that energy. You gotta work them through that energy. If the energy doesn't get worked, all it does is build. What you call it, stress load.
Yeah.
You want to break that down a little bit more? That's
well,
kind
yeah,
of
just stress loading. Like if you have your dog sit every time a dog walks by, but they're like this with excitement, and then by the time you see the 5th dog and they get close to it, they burst because they've been loading. It's like move them through their emotions. But I just noticed you said real quick that you usually put them in another room. I think that this can create more FOMO, more frustration. Find a guest or practice with your family and do this 2-3 days a week for a month where they're going outside, knocking on the door, he's barking, he's getting excited, and you work through this, because I think that that's also going to cause more frustration. I'm not saying don't put your dog away if it's a guest where you can't work with your dog, but you need to teach your dog how to handle these situations.
And if we have this dog in another room, let me ask this, is it in another room with your kid who's basically just telling the dog no barking over and over again, but
or getting him excited because he's running around?
Because what I've noticed is that younger kids probably aren't doing the actual work with the dog, like the heel, sit, place, let's go. So I think it needs to be a very specific training situation. It's not when you have guests over, it's that something you can set up with family, like she was mentioning. It's something that you can actually work with your dog on, not just put that Band-Aid on with the no bark.
And I think you just need more spatial pressure work. If a dog barks at one of my dogs to demand play, it's immediately a very firm no, but then spatial pressure. Make that dog give space, show your other dogs you're advocating for them, and then once he gives space, then redirect him to place. And give him more breaks in crate. Most adolescent dogs nowadays are overstimulated just by being out with their families, and they need to go in crate for several hours a day. Like it broken up, like maybe 3 hours here, 3 hours there. Okay, we should move on.
We also had we have time. We don't have that many questions. We only got this one and these two, so we have time. We have some. We'll answer those two. I just want to answer all the pieces of her question.
Sure.
So she also had the high-pitched barking in the crate as well. So you never let your dog out of the crate when it does the high-pitched bark, for one. And I'd even cover that crate and put it in a different room. A lot of crates, the mentality is you want your dog in the room with you when they're in the crate. If it's the morning and you're getting the bark in your bedroom, then that crate needs to go like in a laundry room, anywhere that's temperature controlled where they're not going to get too hot or too cold, depending on the breed. Golden shouldn't have an issue with cold. they need to be in their own separate space. If that means that then you have to have 2 crates, one downstairs while you guys, the humans, are sleeping, and then in the daytime that crate is in the upstairs bedroom where you're not, that's where the crate needs to be. Somewhere that you can actually still ignore it.
Agreed.
Do you think Daisy's spoiled? What do you think?
No, she's literally putting up her head so she has more surface area to be scratched.
What?
No, she's not spoiled.
You're not spoiled.
Definitely not bipolar. Okay. This is from our long question. You read it.
It's not that long.
Hello, your info is so good. Thank you, Christine. I've been reading as much as I can and applying it. My question, 4 to 5 month old puppy, how many hours a day should she be sleeping? 20 on average, 18 to 20, sometimes really lazy dogs, even 22.
Yeah, I used to say 18 to 21 average,
Yeah.
because in the wild, that's literally what they'd be doing all day long, even as a wild dog, full adult dog.
Or in the backyard. It doesn't mean like wild wolf animal, like even
No,
just
I do.
in the backyard.
I mean back to primal roots.
Oh, okay.
They
But
wake up
even-
to forage, mate, and then they basically sleep all day.
But I was just saying, like, even just a backyard dog, that's what they typically do. A puppy as well.
I like
yeah.
good end of the roots.
Get good. Okay. I have crate trained her, and she takes about 3 naps a day, but she's very active, can play for hours, literally. Ooh, I can't wait to talk about that. Should I not let her have so much playing? I try not to let her roam too freely in the house. Usually she's contained in the same room with me. Is this the right way to do
What kind of puppy?
She
What breed?
needs to, just 4 or 5 month old puppy. Okay. All right. First of all, you need to get this dog out of the same room as you. That is so important. I cannot even tell you. If you want to sleep in the same room, that's totally fine. But during the day, don't you try to go to him. Love me.
She doesn't like you anymore.
I stopped rubbing her belly. During the day, she's like, why'd you get so excited? During the day, it needs to be separate in a separate room. If you live in a studio apartment, maybe your crate fits in the bathroom. I mean, it needs to be in a separate area. That's crucial. You need to teach your puppy how to be alone and truly rest. It's a crappy thing that we have to do nowadays, but they have to learn how to be alone.
Especially if you work from home too. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Here's you talking all day long.
Okay, can play for hours literally. Honestly, most puppies can. I can take a puppy that has a medium to medium low level energy, put them out with me all day long, even crated sometimes, but let them play for more than 15 minutes at a time, and it's like going on a treadmill. You're building stamina. You're building their ability to also remain overstimulated. So there shouldn't be a lot of playing. I would say for most dogs, I don't know what breed your puppy is, but for most dogs, 15 minutes twice a day of play. But there has to be slower, controlled, active work. You need to build focus. Some of your play should be tug if you can, and then some of it fetch. They should be dropping it, sitting, but that's still not enough structure. Because this is what play is, guys. Play is practicing hunting. That is what play is. That is why some dogs are so good instinctually at fetching or bringing things back, the retriever mentality. They don't necessarily hunt to kill, but they grab and bring back. So you're nurturing this instinct, and you don't want to be doing it all day long. You need to be doing controlled work. Maybe take the dog's morning food and work her in the mornings for 10 minutes for her food, 10-15 minutes if you've got time. Then do your little walk, maybe in your home, in your apartment complex, in front of your yard, driveway. It doesn't have to be some big walk. Just 15 minutes of active work, turn, stop and sit, down, place, waiting for food, waiting at thresholds, all of this stuff. Do that twice a day, play twice a day, lots and lots of downtime, and that's where I would, what is that? What? That's where I would go with that. Do you have anything to add to that? Because you're gonna accidentally create a dog that has to be overstimulated. Do you remember Bo, who we did on the videos, that we had this adorable Bouvier puppy? It's a 90-pound dog. I just did the second round of training with him, because we do two different rounds, and he's whining like crazy in place. And I'm like, what have you been doing at home? And I knew there was one of two answers: lots of freedom or lots of toys. And he's like, oh, I just give him a toy. He just munches on it and plays most of the day. He's really low key, which he is. He's a low key dog.
But he expects it.
But he expects it. He's been pacified. So now he's like 7 months old now, and he can't just lay down and be bored. He either has to be right on top of his owner or have to have a toy. If I try to reinforce place, there's 20 minutes of whining before he finally settles down. Still, even after training with me for a couple of weeks, that's how tough he was. So hopefully that gives you an example. Not to throw Bo's family under the bus to help you, but hopefully
Bo's like, just had to rat me out.
Hopefully that gives you an idea. Hopefully Bo's family's not watching this. No, I'm just kidding. They'd be fine.
We're gonna email them.
We're gonna email them.
The free roam in the house. We're trying not to give her too much freedom. I do a leash or I do a playpen because I also think supervised separation is important as well. Meaning that when she's out of the crate and she's roaming around that space, she shouldn't always have access to get to you. So that's the place command that she was mentioning. Basically, they're anchored to an area and they can't leave it for a prolonged period of time. It's your place duration or just the place command itself. But if you can't do that, you can't manage that because you're working or something, use a playpen, use a back tie, tether them to something that's firm, stiff, that they can't get away from. And they're gonna have to get used to being by themselves in the same room as you, out on their free time without having access to you.
Yeah.
Really important for separation
or
anxiety.
a toy to pacify them all day long.
You want them to have a toy?
No, I said not have it. Moving on. There you go, Christine. All right. We don't have as much time as you thought. Okay, Kristen, we're getting a new puppy for Christmas.
We're so quick at answering these.
New puppy for Christmas. We will be home with him for several weeks. Oh no, that's not always good. But then we'll have to get back to work. What do you suggest in terms of potty training? We may be able to get home around lunch to let him out once we go back to work. Other than that, it will be at 7:30 and get home at 4 p.m. Do you want to take this?
I space up for the first half. Getting a puppy in Christmas.
You have a
few weeks to work with them to build up your
potty
structure
training.
schedule.
To build up
Does
only.
it say how old?
No, they're getting him for Christmas.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying.
He'll be 8
maybe
weeks old.
We're assuming.
Yeah, that's what most
if you're getting
people-
a really young puppy, we're going to assume
8
8 weeks old. You can get as much as you want, but even if you have a 10-week-old puppy by the end of like the Christmas break, this puppy can't spend more than 2 or 3 hours in the crate. So I have 2 setups, and I'm sure she'll adapt.
Well,
that
first
a
go
little bit.
through structure schedule.
So
That's
structure
Because
schedule.
I know you love that. I was going to let you do that.
Oh, you're so sweet. So, okay, structure schedule. Basically, you're teaching your puppy to go in the crate, come out, go potty on a controlled schedule, 2 to 3 minutes outside, on leash, even if it's a little puppy. Still want to get him used to it. It's good conditioning. They don't go potty, put him back in the crate for 10, 15 minutes, take him right back out, rinse and repeat until they eventually go potty.
If your puppy is going to be this small, you're looking at every 30 to 40 minutes for the first week.
Yes.
At night
Small
a little
bladder.
longer. At night a little longer. They can do it a little longer at night.
And then give them free time once they do potty. Free time is broken. Don't you interrupt me. Don't do it. Free
Don't
time
curse.
is broken.
You were
up.
about to curse.
I was about to. Because this is a rhythm. I got to get my rhythm.
Sorry.
Free time, 3 separate parts. The first part is walk and play. Second part is train, and you can look up a bunch of little commands. You can even see our Instagram. We have a whole bunch of videos really broken down. We're our online program.
You just pitched our online program.
Ricky's already
But you-
sweating.
We do that because we actually have a question about, can you please make more videos about how to train
We have an online
dogs?
program, yeah.
We will push that in a
We'll
second.
do that in a second.
Third part of your free time is supervised separation, which I won't break down because we just broke it down. And then after that, we give a little bit of water and then a meal depending on what time. And usually I give that water in the crate. I don't leave it down all the time. I pull it back up when they're done drinking. And then usually I'll just set it up on a counter. You want to give value to your bowls, and that can only happen when you put the bowl down on your terms, not on their terms of going to it whenever they want. Breath.
So if I was you and I was trying to speed this process up, if you got a larger breed dog, what you could probably do is DM us for structure schedule,
We'll give
and
it to you.
we'll send that to you, and then you adapt it. So if you have a larger breed pup, or just a pup that's doing really well, or a breeder that did their due diligence and did some of the potty training for you,
So nice.
it's so nice, yeah.
Oh.
But that means you paid a chunk of
Paid
change.
6-7 grand.
But anyway, what you can do is every week, try it. Every week, increase the day. During the day, when you let your puppy out to potty, increase it by a half an hour. And if it doesn't work, you'll have to go back to your hour and
You
a
will
half,
get some
2 hours.
accidents.
You'll
You're
get
going to have
some
to play around
accidents,
with it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
You got
that's
to
how it
say
feels.
what you wanted to say. So anyway, try that. Try to increase it as much as you can. And then at the end of the day, when you have to leave for work and your puppy can't be alone probably 4 hours during the day. They can usually do 4 or 5 hours at night, but not during the day. I'll just be honest, even at 12, 16 weeks old, I'm sure you want the easy one, but you never take the doodles from me.
I'm sleeping half the time.
So this is what we would suggest is your potty training is going to go out the window when you go to work. And I'm really sorry about that, but that's just the way that it is. And so what I would do is set up some sort of playpen scenario, but you can only do that if your puppy's on the small side. You could set them up in a garage type area, block off the kitchen, like because they're gonna potty, and so you
rubber mat too.
Rubber mat. You
They're like $35
mat.
on Amazon now. They used to be like $200.
And then you're going to put puppy pads down on top, tons of puppy pads. It's just preventative. You could do garage, you could do blocked off kitchen, you could do, if it's a small breed dog, you could do a giant crate and half the crate is puppy pads. And
What, they eat the puppy pads?
And the other half, yeah, they might eat puppy pads. Look, I'm trying to give them options here. What have you given?
This
what have
is
you
fun.
given?
I love playing devil's advocate.
You could, and this is just assuming that you don't have an outdoor dog. Try those scenarios. If you have a small dog like this, you can do a playpen. You can do a playpen scenario and have puppy pads in most of the playpen, and then just maybe a little old towel and something safe to chew. Try it, because there's going to be accidents. But if you're doing amazing on your structure schedule, practice what you want to practice when you go to work, and don't be lenient on it. Stick to it, because the change is going to cause stress to your puppy. There's no way around it. Try to build up to that. But if you're struggling and you got to have another idea, these are some options. But yeah, your potty training is going to go backwards, because then you're only going to be able to actively work on potty training when you're home. When you're gone, the puppy needs to be able to have a place to go. So anyway, keep some of those things in mind. Hopefully that gave you some options. Okay. What about your
talk about
long
the Rover
one?
situation?
Oh yeah, you could use Rover. It's
if you're in a larger city, most time you can get a Rover person.
It's
come
probably
over
the
for like
cheapest
$10-15.
thing. It's probably the cheapest thing that you can find.
And then you could still reinforce crate for a dog that is able to stay in crate for like 3, maybe 4 hours. That's pretty much a work day twice, or half a work day. And you have them come in at the 4 hour mark, let them take the dog out for potty, maybe a quick play session, put them back in the crate, and then they leave. And then use $10-15 for that.
Okay, you wanted to do your, you want me to do it?
I don't
So this is numbered. Okay.
You have like 10 seconds.
Bean, I have 10 seconds, Bean. I have an 8-week-old Husky mix, obsessed with water. Your client, Corgi Fitz.
You used to call them client too. You made fun of me for calling them client.
I thought you were talking about our normal questions.
No.
Okay, anyway, hello Bean. All right, number 2, when he was a puppy, the Corgi came, okay, cool. I remember Fitz. I remember that the meals and water were scheduled for training purposes. The thing I'm worried about is my Husky will be resource guarding his water. Honestly, a lot of Huskies resource guard anyway. It's genetic. Not that means it's okay. I'm just warning you. Half of the Huskies I know.
But they shouldn't be resource guarding too if you're controlling when they get water.
Right. They
give it, you
shouldn't
take it
be,
away.
but they tend to do that over adolescence. I have to leave the water bowl on the counter or else he'll drink it all. Well, then only have enough in it for him to drink. So only put in, an inch or 2 worth. He drinks it all up and then put the bowl away. And it shouldn't be on the counter, because that's almost like a tease. So you could actually put it away. That's an idea. How long should I give him his water scheduled throughout the day? I will say that larger breed dogs do sometimes need more water than smaller breed dogs. So your Husky could need more water than you were used to giving your Corgi. So I would take that into consideration.
I give it in 2 parts.
What I like to do, I think I'm going to say what he's going to say. What I like to do is after I work with, walk, or let my dog puppy out of crate, they get a water chance, and it's like just an inch or 2, or maybe not even that, like that much in the bowl. Yeah, like an inch. And then we go and, we do something, potty, whatever the case is. 15 minutes later, I see if they want more. Because a lot of times they get themselves worked up, they're excited, and they just guzzle. And then once they get some water, they mellow out and they didn't need as much as they thought they needed.
It's almost like she taught me that.
Oh, is that how it went?
You taught me that. One trick though.
Everything.
One thing I will say that she didn't say is check the gum line. Most of the time you'll have a dog that thinks they need a ton of water.
Your gum line.
It's super important. If you have red gums, that's usually mean a little bit of dehydration. But if they're slimy and wet,
You're
then
good.
you're good. Yeah, if it's sticky and dry, you're like, yeah, you probably do need a little bit more water. And then maybe I'll wait another 10 minutes, 15 minutes after that second dose of water. Dose. Dr. Sparky, yeah. After that second dose, and then 15 minutes later, check the gum line again. All right, now it's good. No slime or no stick, then you're good.
Yeah, so no stickiness. So you're checking your dog's mouth a lot, which is actually good conditioning. And I didn't do that much until I did it if I felt like I had to, but I didn't do it much till you said that. But I use it more now with puppies. It's really useful. It's really useful. So anyway, guys, all right, thank you very much.
Oh, we did it. Look at us.
And was there anything you want us to do real quick on here?
Yeah, so if people want to see more of your training videos.
Okay, so we have an online program that is what's the word? It's coming out, but it's its debut in when? Like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Next week comes out, and honestly, it's not like you have to tune in every week to see a live video. They go at your speed. You can watch 5 videos in one day, go back and watch them all over again. It's pretty much everything that we consider as the basics of puppy training, and honestly, even a lot of adult dogs will get from it as
the difference between ours and other people's is we do a ton of behavioral, how the dog learns, preventing separation anxiety. It's like all the how to actually walk by a dog on the street. It's not just sitting in a room teaching sit down come. There's so much more.
You can go on YouTube for that. We're trying to give you the troubleshoots of what you're going to run into while teaching those commands in the real world.
Yep.
And they get access to you guys.
And you get access to us. Oh yeah, because we'll have Q&As and stuff. Yeah.
We do another private video for an hour instead of just the 30 minutes that this one is.
Yeah.
It is private.
And you'll coach people from their home.
And we'll coach people from your home.
I love Ricky's
we need to learn this
teleprompt.
We've got to learn the ad spiel. We're gonna memorize it. All right, guys. Have a great day.
It secondhand. They hear that one, they know.
And where can they go to sign up for that?
Just watch our Instagram this week. We'll have things.
Keep an eye on Instagram, and we'll have
amazing
stuff.
commercials coming up.
There'll be stuff for you. Stuff. All right, guys. We'll see you Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye.